This podcast is sponsored by The Crazy Cast and Human Wire Productions at Human-Wired
and the Gypsy Haven, Elgin's own witch shop at www.thegypsyhaven.com and onlinewiccansupplies.com.
Two witches.
You mean like witchcraft?
Sharing their opinions and beliefs about the practice and theory of magic.
Must be the season of the witch. Must be the season of the witch, yeah. Must be the season of the witch.
Hi guys, welcome back. This is Feather.
And LeFay.
And you are listening to Season of the Witch.
So it's March 2016, and we have a lot of things coming up here at the middle of the month. We've got Ostara, yes, and we have the equinox.
Yes.
But to kind of start things off without going too deep into things, just how's everyone doing? How was your week?
It flew, which was great, and went back to work at the shop on Thursday. And I kind of realized that last episode I was not necessarily picking on people. I didn't mean to come across as, picking on
We were doing
customers.
Hollywood misconceptions.
Yes,
so there was a lot of frustration.
Yes,
just
I was
in
venting
general.
a little, but I wanted to really share about some warm, fuzzy feelings that I was getting from people that were coming in the past couple of days. And it was very refreshing because a lot of people were coming in for sage. And I don't
kind of a basic tool, but a very necessary one.
Yeah, a lot of we just moved into a new place, and I'd like to cleanse my home, and it's like, oh, fabulous. And don't really know how to do this, and it's just all perfect. I mean, granted, a lot of these people they didn't know much, and they were asking for some input and some suggestion on how to do some house cleansing.
She has a witch card!
But just the timing of it is impeccable for what we are about to celebrate this month, as far as the changing of the seasons and starting over and fresh and clean. So lots of people, maybe it's just primal. It's just primal, not necessarily nesting instinct, but it's more of like spring cleaning. Spring cleaning is
everyone
in the
gets
air.
that.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are coming out and wanting to paint and sage and rid the house of demons and all this. Yes, absolutely. So it's been a wonderful week so far. A little less retardation walking through the front door. And
refreshing for once.
Yeah, people are coming out of their hibernation and, finally seeing the sun. And I think that's making a huge impact on how they're treating other people. Everybody seems to be much friendlier.
It's a good mood week. I mean, we can't complain with the weather. I mean, how unusual is it for us to have something this nice?
Yeah, here in Illinois, this is crazy. It was a very, very mild winter, so we were blessed. In my yard, I've already got green things popping up all over the place. I'm like, hey!
It's hard not to get into the mood.
Right.
It's really, really hard. I mean, last year, I think it was still snowy and kind of gross and everything. I really was not thinking spring was here.
Right.
Or around the corner or whatever was coming around.
Right.
But it seems like this month in particular, everything that's lining up is lining up so well, and it's so
creepy cool
and just exciting. So, I mean, outside of, I can't lie, I'm really excited about this particular Esbat because it's on my birthday. I'm gonna enjoy that.
Yes.
But we wanted to start off with the Esbat because the show, we wanted to kind of focus on Ostara as our main theme, just because it's our big Sabbat. It's coming up. It's super important. We've got a ritual planned. I'm super excited. But the Esbat is also just as, it can be just as important when it comes to ritual work.
Super duper, yes. It's actually Wednesday, March 23rd of this year, 2016, is our Esbat for the month. And it goes by several different names. I'm going to call it the Hawk Moon.
There's also the worm moon.
Storm moon.
And the robin moon.
Robin moon. Yeah. It's a happy moon.
Oh, the worm moons are gross.
I actually like worms. I used to play with them all the time as a kid. Just don't ask me to put one on a hook to go fishing because I kind of freak out on that. But anyway, as far as this upcoming Esbat, I like to dabble with astrology to kind of know what's going on that particular day in conjunction with the moon and the planetary alignment, and
it's a nice heads up.
Yeah,
what to
absolutely.
Expect.
So I'm not going to go deep into the astrological aspects of this particular Esbat. We can have a podcast completely dedicated to astrology at another time.
It would be its own hour and a half to 2 hours and just scratch the surface.
Just scratch it. This would take like 2 days to go over everything, if not longer.
So mini zodiac / astrology tidbits for March 23rd.
Yes. As far as this coming Esbat, our full moon, that's what an Esbat is. If some people don't understand what, the definition of Esbat, simple, the full moon of the month. Okay? So what do we do for that full moon of the month? Well, for this particular month, the moon is going to be in Libra, okay, at 7:01 our time here in Illinois.
AM.
Correct.
So the best time to go and experience the moon is that morning.
The full moon is, it's in its peak. It's full moon at 7:01.
Okay.
Okay. And it will be lined up, and Libra will have its strongest influence on the moon. So when we talk about that, okay, the moon is in Libra, it means that the energy out and about that affects all humans, okay, as the moon
our
does,
emotions and everything to do with water and everything.
Exactly. They will have Libra traits to them. So you can kind of predict, if you will, people's behaviorisms, why they are doing what they are doing. And this particular in Libra, Libra favors cooperation, compromise, social activities, balance, friendship, and partnership.
That's a happy moon.
Yes. Think of the scales.
Yeah,
kind of.
Balance, duality, which fits so very well.
Yes, it does. Well, we'll get into that later too. But yes, just like you said, everything that the timing is amazing. It does fall on a Wednesday, which is ruled by Mercury. Okay.
Communication,
study, travel, divination, and wisdom.
There we go.
Okay. So knowing these,
it's not in retrograde, right?
No. I know. Knowing these two things, okay, we understand when it comes to favors, cooperation amongst each other. Okay, so it's not really a time of solitude. It's more of a matter of people want to cooperate with others. They want to come together. It is the prime opportunity to do that kind of thing. Compromising. If you have issues and you're butting heads with somebody and you haven't been able to come up with a logical solution, working in Libra helps with that.
So this would be a really good, resolving issues moon, or bringing peace and just steadiness. Balance. Just bringing in a lot of good, comfortable things to yourself, because it being a full moon, we want to focus on bringing things to us rather than on a new moon, we would be expelling them away.
Correct. Yeah, this just intensifies all of this, bringing it in, like what you said. Social activities. Don't sit at home. Go out.
It's spring break.
Being around, yes. Go around. Hang out with some people. Be social. It's strong for friendship and partnership. So Libra will be in the air on March the 23rd, Wednesday, 2016. And as far as divination goes, doing any type of magic or spell work, again, Mercury is our ruler. So divination's revolving around study. Okay, traveling, and wisdom. Bringing wisdom to us.
That'd be nice.
Yes.
So in general, I mean, doing divinations on that day, do you feel like it would be a little bit of a stronger, like a good day to do some divinations in general? Like, just how would that be boosted? Or do you think that it would be accentuated?
I'm kind of torn on that. There are many of Esbats that I enjoy doing divination on. It really depends on what I have going on during the day. Mm-hmm. Typically, more of my Sabbats. I always, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, I will involve some sort of divination with a Sabbat.
Right.
Esbat, it's more of understanding the moon, being underneath the moon, recharging myself under the moon.
Okay.
Empowering my tools, charging the stones and that type of thing under the light of the moon. When it comes to divination, yes. But again, I work with the astrological aspects of what's going on with that moon. So sometimes I'll be under a zodiac sign that's like, I don't really know what kind of divination to incorporate with that particular day.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I don't really need to bring a divination to the table because it's not fitting in that category. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. I'm just thinking, if we want to consolidate all of the little interesting things together, it almost makes me feel like I would want to make sure that all of my divination tools got a full moon bath. On that day in particular.
Yes, I typically will do a nice cleansing of my stones beforehand. Get them all nice and clean, and then put them. I really like bringing my things outside. And a lot of people can't do that, so you put it in your windowsill, as long as the full moon beams can, reach them.
Right.
And kind of recharge those batteries. Because when the morning comes, you pick up that tool and it's just like, woo!
Full on charged.
It's such a big difference. But for the hawk moon, there is one particular, but we can talk about that in a minute, a real small, easy divination that I have written down if anybody would like to hear it. But you want to talk about the hawk moon a little bit first, and then
kind of the names behind it, a little bit of
the worm moon, and
yeah,
why it's called that.
So, just a quick. I have to have context behind things when I remember them. I can't just remember facts. It's just certain people think different ways, and some people can just remember textbook facts all the time. If I have a story behind it, it makes me remember it a lot easier. So,
listen to them not.
That'd be kind of pointless. Hopefully, this is not going to be too long-winded for people who can remember those. But anyway, I like remembering that both the hawk and the robin moon, and actually all three, the robin moon, the hawk moon, and the worm moon, kind of all fit together in the same reason why they're named the way they are. Because it's spring, the earth is warming up, and the earthworms are starting to come out of the earth, which is bringing back all the birds. So we have both hawks and robins who are showing up again, kind of representing springtime. And this is usually the first month that we're going to experience any of those birds coming back or seeing a bunch of the worms that are all over the place. More rain, generally. We always know that the earthworms come out during the rain. So this one, the Native Americans called the worm moon. So kind of simple, but at least hopefully then you can remember it better.
Right. And even when, again, I'm going to refer back to what the hawk moon.
Yeah.
It symbolizes insight, vision, and foresight. So on that note, that was the very small divination little thingy that I've got to present an idea, the simplest form of a divination that you can practice on this particular Esbat.
Okay.
If you'd like to hear it, again, revolving around the hawk. And the symbolization of the insight, vision, and foresight of the energy of hawk.
Of course we want to hear it. I mean, I'm sure that it's great to have your own, but it's always good to have extra ideas.
Well, basically, this very simple divination focuses on keen sight, both I can't talk this evening. I'm sorry, both physical and metaphysical. And basically, all you want to do is go outside to a place where you can see the horizon. Okay.
Okay.
See the horizon in a distance, and try to pinpoint the things that you can see with your eyes at that moment in time.
All right.
Okay? Jot it down on a piece of paper. Bring pen and paper with you. Okay? The things that your eyes will allow you to see. Now, next step is you want some sort of magnification, such as binoculars or a telescope.
Okay.
Okay? You have those with you. Before you actually look into it, close your eyes and think of hawk for a moment. Okay? Welcome the energy of hawk to you for vision. Okay. All right? Close your eyes and pretend like you are looking through the eyes of a hawk. Once this feeling comes over you, now look through your binoculars, look through your telescope. Look at that same horizon that you just looked at moments ago. You will see things clearly. You will pick out things that you could have never seen with human eyes. Okay? Now you're going to record what you are seeing with new eyes. Following me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So afterwards, once you've done that, look at the differences again, okay? Now, dismiss the hawk energy. Thank it, of course.
Yeah,
okay?
you can't just use and abuse.
Right. We thank it for its guidance, its presence, and you release it. Now, after you've done so, close your eyes. Imagine that you're looking through the eyes of a hawk again. Open your eyes one more time. Look at the horizon. Now notice the difference between the first time you looked at the horizon to the second time you looked at the horizon. Write down the difference. This piece of paper with all of the differences that you've written down, you're actually going to put that, a lot of people will put it in a cauldron overnight so that you can kind of sleep on it. The next day, put it on your altar. Okay, if you do have an altar, and keep that there throughout the year, if you can remember to, or somewhere that you can keep an eye on it. It is an amazing stepping stone for the beginning of the year, as far as seeing goals. Okay.
So when you see things on the horizon, are we almost looking at it in symbolism? Like a water tower, when you're seeing a house or whatever you see.
You're writing down specifics.
Okay.
I see a house and it's yellow. Well, through a telescope, I see a house that's yellow that has 6 windows. I didn't see all the windows before.
Okay.
Okay. There's a tree there, and it actually has a squirrel in the tree. I didn't see that before. You are writing down the things.
Very detailed.
Yes, very much so, because of that incredible vision, okay, that you did not have without your magnification, without the eyes of hawk.
Right.
So that magnification is kind of like the essence of hawk for a moment. And the thing is the thing behind it is understanding this time of year, we have goals for ourselves, okay? But we have to see them. We have to see them clearly, all right? So that we know how to go step by step into attaining those goals. Sometimes we think we know what we want to see, but we don't see the whole picture. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, and then it fits a lot very well with everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very, very simple. You don't have to be lighting candles and calling the quarters, anything like that. It is still more of a practice of bringing in some guidance to you and leaving that particular situation a little bit different than when you entered it.
It's also about being able to spot the differences and that observational ability that's so important.
Yes. A lot of us, we just see surface, and we lack the depth, important things of certain things. Again, even like goals. I mean, goals are pretty damn important. Unless you have some fine details, you may kind of screw up your overall outcome, or it may take you longer to get there.
I mean, like it's really the first sowing of the seeds. And
'tis the season.
It's we are so seasonally focused in this practice. and I think a lot of people almost forget why it's important. I mean, it's one thing to just celebrate the holiday without just knowing that it's coming up, just following a calendar. It's another thing to, I think, truly understand the reason why it's so important to acknowledge it at the time that it's happening.
That sounds like witch talk to me.
Which, yes, it is witch talk. I think in that, that's really what understanding what Ostara is about. Because that once we get into really understanding what is happening in the world and going from macro to micro, focusing on everything that's happening outside and how that is happening on the inside as well, then we can create that real change that we're looking for.
Yes, and again, even that Libra moon, all about balance, leads you nailed it right on that balance between the physical and the internal worlds. This all just fits together. Again, it's creepy cool, yeah.
And there was much rejoicing.
So, anything that, just as a quick wrap up, because people love this and just basic zodiacs and astrology, they're what to avoid. Anything that we should be conscious of, or it's, I mean, like we know that it's a good time to do things. Is it a bad time to do anything? Just, it's a good word.
No, not on that particular day. I mean, because we are not going through any type of a void, of course, on that particular day. And all that means is that, with the planetary, the moon going from one zodiac into the next, we call it void, of course. And that's where we really put any types of magic or divination to the wayside. Okay. So on that particular day this month, we don't have to worry about that.
We just have a lot of fire to deal with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that, later on we'll be talking about the astrology of the actual Sabbat of Ostara. And yes, there's going to be a lot of fire going on. And again, it's all perfect timing for everything that we are getting ready to do.
Yeah.
So, well, but with the Esbats, I mean, for you guys, again, there are full moons. So there are 12 Esbats.
Sometimes 13.
Sometimes every 2.5 years we actually have 13. And again, we'll be talking more about Esbats later on.
We'll go into a whole episode just focused on that, because we could describe each one. We could describe what they're good for. We just figured this would be good because we have two holidays, the two major holidays happening within 3 days of each other.
And even without a whole lot of information, even if you just go out under that full moon that evening and bathe in it, until you learn more about it, it just feels amazing. So just mark it on your calendar, get out there, Wednesday night, March 23rd, under the full moon. And it's going to do nothing but make you feel amazing. Whoa! Woohoo! All right, well, from Esbats, then we go on to our Sabbats. How do you pronounce it?
I tend to go Sabbat.
Sabbat, and it's just Sabbat. I mean, you say tomato, I say tomato, we all say fuck you. It all means the same thing.
And I don't know, it's whoever taught you the first time you heard it, the first time you read it, and I think I just heard Sabbat. So that's just how I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I've run across some snarky people that's
it's
not how you say that.
It's like, okay, Samhain, fine. Sabbat, whatever.
Shut up. Get a life.
It's neo-paganism. No one's going to have it exactly right.
Right. So let us talk about the upcoming Sabbat Ostara. It's your birthday, baby.
Well, no, I'm on the Esbat.
Oh, you're on the... Oh, shit. It doesn't matter. You've got the special month.
This is my favorite holiday, or my particular...
This is why it is your favorite Sabbat, is because it's so close to
right around my first one 2 years ago happened to be on my birthday.
Okay.
So it was a really cool little mixed day.
Yay. Well, we actually celebrated, we just got over Imbolc.
Yes, and we wanted to kind of explain this real quick, because once you get into the circle and once you're actually in this seasonal wheel, it makes so much sense for you to understand what you are working towards. And everything is so cyclical that it's important to know what came before so that we're knowing what to look forward to.
Yeah, so we're kind of like I want to say in phase 2, and we totally left you out on phase 1. But next year, you know what? You'll hear about Imbolc.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But LeFay, you want to tell them a little bit about what we did at Imbolc and together? It was kind of what is a real brief, what do we look forward to doing in Imbolc? That's when
it's okay. So we're thinking Groundhog's Day is always just kind of how I can remember it a little bit easier. So it's the first hints of spring is around the corner.
Right.
The snows are melting. They're not necessarily gone yet. It's not full spring. So we're starting to plant the seeds. We're starting to clear the snow away. We're starting to say goodbye.
We're starting to think. We're waking up from hibernation.
Yeah. The Lord hasn't been born yet, has he? No. Yeah, he is. He has been born.
Yeah, he's baby.
He's baby. He's like, nursing.
Right.
Sorry, I have to remember in like a timeline. So,
right.
remember where he is. But yes, he's completely uncoordinated, not doing anything.
Right.
Nothing's in full swing yet. And so then we move into Ostara.
Yeah.
Which is a little more action.
Yeah.
A lot more action.
Imbolc, we were thinking about what we wanted to do come spring. It
was the planning
Ostara, right. Ostara is more like you said, it's the action. It's actually getting off our butt and saying, okay, what did I think about a few months ago? Now we're going to actually get up and start rocking the shit.
The farmers are sowing, the bunnies are fucking, all of the animals are fucking.
Yep. It's everything is it's
fertility time.
Let's talk the birds and the bees. All right, it is spring equinox. Yay!
It's equinox, tomato, etc. There's 2 of them, and we've got the year split into 4. And so if you don't know what an equinox, it means the day and the night are the same amount of time. So when these happen, we're really focused on duality a little bit more. There's no major battles between light and dark. It's more focused on that, which works out so great with what our moon is about.
Yes.
And we just kind of wanted to give a quick synopsis of different names or different titles that this goes by, because most people are going to associate this time with Easter.
Yeah. Yes, that's well, where am I?
I think we were generalized notes or other names.
Yeah. Yeah, and something else that I got too that I actually jotted down that I really like, and I feel that it goes into some of when we're talking about deities and that kind of thing, and gender, is that I like thinking about the daylight in comparison to the night, and now that we're balanced, okay, in the time of day, that the night equals the day. I like to think of the daylight as activity, the outer world
versus the inner.
Versus the inner. It's more masculine energy. Okay? So the daylight, it's us up doing things, our outside appearance, our outside world, masculine energy. It's actually equal to the night, which is the opposite, which night energy is feminine energy. It's energy of resting in the inner world. So that whole balance going hand in hand too.
Excuse me.
Period of growth and power, the point at which the light surpasses the darkness. Yay.
It's time to start playing again. I think humans naturally, especially in Illinois, especially in the Midwest in general, the minute it's not 32 degrees, you've got people out there constantly running around in every little bit of shorts and no,
damn it. Boo.
In general, I think we're all just trying to rush outside and be outside and do as much as possible. Everyone that I know is talking about, prepping their gardens and getting everything together. And so this is it's the time. And then we've got St. Patrick's Day, and we've got all of these. It's the first time we're, excuse me, all getting together to celebrate something together.
Right. Okay. I'm looking forward to the big bonfires. I can't help it. The sun is like making its main debut now. It's coming back to life. So, and I tend to be a little bit of a pyromaniac. So I'm half expecting to see a buttload of bonfires.
We have found the witch. May we burn her?
No, we will not be burning witches in the bonfires.
I sentence you
Unless we
hands
make ourselves
to be burned
puppets
at
or
the
something
stake.
that we want to release.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that, and I just thinking about this in a psychology sense. You know how you don't because you're not on Facebook a whole lot, but I notice a lot of people constantly talking about, I can't wait for bonfire season. I can't wait for this and that and the other thing. I think it's humans. I mean, like, we're not programmed to mate at this season, but I think we are programmed to have that instant urge to want to go do something. We've been stuck indoors for so long. And
Cabin
now,
fever?
Yeah, we're finally breaking free of that cabin fever, and we're doing spring cleaning, and we're getting rid of shit, which fits so well.
I don't know. I'm already looking out my window and I'm seeing the squirrels chasing each other, and I'm half, expecting them to start mounting each other, just because spring is really, really popping in early this year. And again, there's green everywhere, and the birds are totally filling my front tree. And I don't know. It feels like the birds and the bees right now, the whole season, and I'm expecting a whole lot of sexuality.
I'm totally gonna quote Bambi here, but they're all Twitter-pated.
What's that mean? Twitter-pated?
Oh, come on, Bambi? Okay.
Oh, I know Bambi. What's Twitter-pated mean?
Remember when the owl starts explaining the birds and the bees to Bambi, and the male rabbit is all attracted to the female rabbit, and Bambi's like, what's wrong with her? Or what's wrong with him?
Oh my God, this is forever ago. You gotta remember, I'm 20 years older than you. You know how long it's been since I've seen Bambi?
Yeah, I had younger siblings later on in life, so I was watching a lot of cartoons at an older age. No, but it's Bambi term for when all the animals are in heat.
Oh, okay.
So they're all crazed for each other. So
right.
Yeah, it's puppy dog love, the initial thing, or in heat.
Right.
It's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, but just even like you said, planting and creating your flower and vegetable gardens. I know a lot of ladies that enjoy making fairy gardens too.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And just getting out there and getting that dirt under your nails again. It's
reconnecting with the earth.
Oh my gosh. After like months of intense ice and cold and crawling out of that hibernation cave and just like breathing non-stale air, being outside again and just getting dirty.
Yeah. I want to go garden so bad. Are there any, outside of Ostara, are there any other names that you can think of or any other things that we title it by?
Well, there are alternative names for Ostara and other pagan traditions, and I am going to slaughter these. Okay, so this first one, it's Alban Eiler, Albaneiler.
It sounds like Alban Eiler.
Eiler, okay, and it's Celtic, and it means light of the earth.
Nice.
Yeah. There's also the Festival of Summer Findings. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
And that is Asatru?
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 I've heard of it. I have not learned enough about Asatru to totally get that one.
I'm clueless. I'm just putting this out there, recognizing that, okay, it's known as other things. And then what we call the vernal or the spring equinox. We call it tomato, they call it tomato. In all reality, it really is the same thing.
The Christians call it Easter. And
right. I mean,
there's so many different ways to go about it. But generally, I think humans in every history in different places in time have had this kind of thing. So that's where I wanted to I got 4 main ones of my history of like random, I don't know.
Yeah, I have some holidays and traditions occurring in the northern hemisphere too. So maybe that's what we are thinking a lot.
I've got northern hemisphere stuff. I don't know anything about southern hemisphere stuff, which is a cool little interesting tidbit we'll go over. But
okay,
do we want to Can I cover the basics?
Yes, do it up.
Commonly known or commonly found on the interwebs. I'll just title that. But it's kind of cool to know these little tidbits of information because I like to know the stories behind the story.
Okay.
So
more wishes, more money, right?
Shit, yeah.
Because there's always the, where did the Easter Bunny come from? Where did, crapping eggs come from?
Yep.
Why does that make any sense? And so, like we were talking about with everything being in heat, especially in medieval Europe where Christianity was so highly important, there was the March hare. And this particular species of bunny was interesting because not only when they were randy, they were bouncing around like crazy because they're normally nocturnal.
Right.
During mating season, they're not. So it's the only time they actually see these rabbits, and they're everywhere. But then this particular species of rabbit can do, it's called super fecund, or they can conceive a second litter of baby rabbits
while
while
they're still pregnant.
Yes.
Yes.
So double pregnancy.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad that we can't do that.
Oh, no.
I have children that are a week and a half apart.
Gross.
That would suck.
And that's what hysteria can do to you.
So, you start to think about the fact that this season is just, they were seeing rabbits everywhere, double pregnant. And then if the males were rebuffed by the females, so if they actually, couldn't get any, they would bounce around sporadically in these weird, like, frenzied bouncing modes. It was just
having temper tantrums?
Pretty much. And so,
I know a lot of men like that.
So I think that's where we get the Easter Bunny from, for the most part. I've got another Germanic story that includes it as well, in which I love this. I love the fact that you've got so many different associations that all kind of combine into this weird holiday that we have now that makes absolutely no sense. We've got Rome, who had it was kind of very similar to the Jesus story, but you've got the followers of Sybil, believe she had a consort who was born via virgin birth, and every year he was resurrected at this time. So you get the Passover, you get the resurrection of Christ. And everything's such an original religion.
Yeah, Palm Sunday, Christian again, which happens the Sunday before Easter. Good Friday, Christianity again, the Friday before Easter.
That ought to show God whose side we're on.
We at least know the facts.
Easter, Christian, again, it's the first Sunday after the first moon, after the spring equinox.
So everyone noticing Easter doesn't happen on the same day every year. It bounces around, and it's always going to be associated with when the spring equinox occurred.
From my understanding, didn't most of this evolve based off of early days of agriculture?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how basically the whole wheel was formed anyway, right? And all of our holidays based off of
I'm sure it could even go before then as well, because if we're looking at just the mating seasons of animal or the natural occurrence of the earth, even before agriculture, somebody somewhere must have realized that there was a cycle that occurred constantly, and they would observe that maybe the migration patterns of this particular...
Like the buffalo.
Yeah.
Like the Native Americans.
They must have been observing this all over the place, because too many religions at too many different times in too many different areas had the same themes going on, or had the same constant of, this is when activity starts happening. This is when we hibernate. This is when, everything is good and we can play around and not have to worry about survival as much. Agriculture definitely, I think that's when we started recording history.
Okay.
Was at that point. So then they started writing down stories. They started making up more stuff, because before agriculture, they weren't focused on maintaining their culture. They were just focused on being a culture, surviving.
Okay.
So absolutely, I think in written history, I would assume that it had to start with the agricultural period, because before then they weren't really writing things down.
Right.
Hey.
After all, I'm not just an ordinary witch. My family dates back to the days of Pompeii.
Pompeii.
Yes.
What about Dionysus or Bacchus Day? Go Bacchus.
The wine and debauchery guys. That's totally fitting.
The Roman, that typically falls around March 16th, 17th, I believe. That's what my notes say. Yeah, I don't know much about Bacchus, but shit, I know enough about him that it would make a fun evening.
debauchery, drinking, excess, all the fun things rolled into one. I mean, he would be the new mascot for St. Patrick's Day. I mean, he just fits.
Yeah, absolutely. What about the Annunciation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, or otherwise known as Lady Day? That's
Lady Day.
Catholic, March 25th. Yes, Lady Day.
We're going to go over a couple more deities that come up, and it's going to be really funny because some of them are about taking in semen. So she's one of my new
and
favorites.
Large phalluses.
Yeah.
All right.
And there was much rejoicing.
But that was basically Northern Hemisphere.
Germany. I do have to bring up Germany's.
Do it.
Yes, because
Do
that's
it,
where
do
we
it.
get Ostara.
Okay.
And Ostara. There's a couple different things, and that's where I feel like it's one of the stronger relationships to the Christianity style of it, but we get Ostara, which can either translate to Eastern, the rising sun, or you've got the goddess Ostara, who was, she had her feast day on the full moon during the vernal equinox, so that was just her generalized feast day. But one of her little stories that, really fits well is the idea that one spring she came late, found a bird whose wings had been frozen, unfroze it, kept it as her pet, or some say as her consort.
Aww.
Eventually, she wanted to... There was a reason why she had to punish the hare, because either he was not faithful to her or did something to displease her.
Damn man.
So to take away his flight ability, she turned him into a hare, but made it so that he could still lay eggs to keep the memory of being a bird.
And that's where Cadbury eggs came from.
Yes.
I love that
Freaking
commercial.
Germans and their weirdos. So I'm wondering if this story had been written later on. I mean, I wonder with how perfectly this matches up. I mean, the fact that we would take it so literally from this old Germanic Saxon story that this goddess changed a robin into a hare that could still crap out eggs. And we still believe that? That makes me sick. And again, I mean, this is where this belief system and I are coming to terms constantly. And same with Christianity, same with everything else. I have to take it with a grain of salt.
That's why I cannot, just like I explained in the last podcast, when it comes to these stories of these humans, it's just
and I find it adorable though. Like if I could find, if I could have my one wish granted, I would be able to find the answer to everything.
Sure.
Just because I want to know who shot Kennedy, and I want those answers.
Whoa,
and
so
what,
turn me into a newt.
And what?
Newt.
A newt?
Better.
What would you do with that information if you knew it?
I just want to know when these stories were written. I want to know exact dates. Who made this up?
Okay.
Who decided that this was going to... What were you eating or smoking or doing? How did this make sense? Because the psychology behind... Or it would be more sociology. For these stories, these archetypes, these concepts to have followed through religion and time and space.
Okay.
Because it came from maybe Celts, it came from the Romans, it came from all of these different kinds of people. And it just went to Christians who believe that this religion or this holiday is all about, some guy who was brought back from the dead.
Well, I've heard enough. Burner!
Horus.
Exactly.
Horus.
So,
okay.
Outside... I've gone on my big theological ramble for that one. Sorry, that was off the beaten path.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to get into that topic too much because I'll be here forever.
We're here to talk about the happy period of time that is.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that stuff.
So, do we have any? We wanted to go into Southern Hemisphere for just a second because it's kind of a neat thing that not a whole lot of Northern Hemisphere witches will think about.
Like Nova Roma, they talk about the feast of Jupiter, Juno, or what is that? Minerva. Yeah.
Hera. The Roman Hera.
Uh-huh. I know who Hera is. Uh-huh. Yes. All right. And see, I do know it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I guess I do know a couple of human deities. Anyway. All right. Catholic Christians, they pronounce it Michaelmas?
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, like, it depends on who's saying it.
Okay, tomato. And again, Catholics, yay! September 8th, actually, in the Southern Hemisphere, the birth of the Virgin Mary.
Okay, we're getting really specific into, like, now each person's... Does Joseph get a day? I just wonder. That guy got no credit.
Right? That was more on the religious aspect. In secular, there's something called, was it Floride? Floriade, which is the largest flower festival in the Southern Hemisphere.
Nice. And then, just so that, like, the thing that North versus South that we need to remember is when we're celebrating the spring equinox right now,
Australia is... Yeah.
They're totally opposite. They're celebrating their fall equinox. And so just remember that it has nothing to do with our time period. It's always going to be what your season is in. So the Southern Hemisphere is celebrating the holidays in total reverse. If anyone ever gets confused, or it's a little fun factoid to think about.
It's light on our side of the world and it's dark on theirs. And then vice versa.
Yeah.
So.
Kind of obvious when you think of it that way.
Right. All right. Female, male archetypes?
Yes. So, following along with our basic themes, most of the goddesses that I could find happen to be focused on either the maiden archetype, so the new, the fresh, the virgin, the flower-focused, kind of mother figures as well. A lot of them.
Mother of the earth.
Yes, a lot of mothers of the earth, a lot of nature-focused deities. We're celebrating sex and nature.
Creation.
It's a lot of good things like that.
Right.
So I've got a whole list of female deities.
Well, this is going to be mostly you, girlfriend. Again, everybody knows I'm not much into the human, but I will try to add my 2 cents in every once in a while if I know something. I'm like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
I give the Greeks and the Romans a lot of credit. They pretty much have made a majority of just differing deities that go into almost everything. I mean, there's sub-deities, there's nymphs, there's dryads, there's all of these different things that have a lot of stories, and mainly because they like to write a lot, but just a list of them. You've got Persephone, you've got Aphrodite, you've got Athena, you've got Gaia, you've got Hera, you've got Minerva.
Freya, you're Freya.
I was just going in Roman and Greek. That was just them.
Holy crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of just them, and then you were talking about Dionysus and Bacchus, both of them. But then we've got fun ones from the Welsh. We've got Blodeuwedd, which is flower face as a direct. Yeah, that's her direct translation. And then Freya, and then we can
flower face. Yeah, see,
flower
I've got
face.
my little note. She was magically made of flowers.
Yes,
she was made of flowers.
Oak, broom, and a type of flower. Yeah.
Well, she had to smell wonderful. Okay, and she was Celtic?
She was Welsh.
Welsh.
Yes. So
cool.
When I was looking at all of these different deities, goddesses specifically, we get a kind of general archetype that we're looking at, and it's a basic theme. And when you're trying to pick a deity for any of these things, I have to look at their story. I have to read a bunch of different stories. Which one do I want to use? Which one do I feel fits with the period of time?
I'm noticing there's a couple of people coming into the shop that are calling upon Aphrodite a lot lately. And she's just in the air, and they're saying that she's calling to them, which totally makes sense this time of year, too, seeing that she's the goddess of beauty, love, pleasure, procreation. Yeah. She's connected to generative powers of nature, especially in the springtime.
She's a very just happy. I would consider her on my fluffy scale.
Yeah,
she's a very happy goddess. I almost sometimes feel like she's shallow,
but she's popular.
She is. She's very popular. She kind of feels like the cheerleader of the pantheon to me, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. And I'm not by any means saying that it's. I'm not bad mouthing a deity.
No,
just by the way,
right.
But I've just like actually Aphrodite and Blodeuwedd and a lot of these goddesses, they're not always necessarily just good. There's a lot of negative aspects that can come with them.
There is no such thing as perfect good or perfect dark.
And that fits really well because even at this period of time, even though spring is on its way, we need to keep in mind that we only have a short period of time before the winter comes again.
Right.
It
goes so fast.
It's fun and exciting to get stuck in the sun and think that it's, we're going to have forever, but that's part of the planning,
right.
I feel like.
Well, I think that the important part, I mean, you're right. I mean, I have a list of names, just female, in front of me, and they are all associated with this time of year, being the spring. And I think that if wishing to work with one of these particular gods or goddesses, you have to do a little bit of homework as to what they were the god or the goddess of, and kind of find a suitable match for what your intention is for that day or that situation. Is she a flower, goddess? Is she love, beauty? Is she a goddess of sexuality? Of fertility.
We're married, but by no means am I trying to bring any fertility into...
Me neither.
Neither one of us is looking to bring fertility to us. But that's where we have to be almost specific. It's like maybe we want abundance.
Prosperity.
Correct. Get very specific. Or I'm not going to want any lust because that's going to bring generic lust from all directions. I mean, lust between my spouse and I is one thing. And that may be strengthening companionship or something variety-wise. But if I go straight for, just attraction and just love and just those basic primeval things, that's when you get, pandemonium. And
but that could be fun sometimes, depending on the age. Yeah, I remember 70s and free love and shit. That was, I was born then, but yeah, it's not like I was out there screwing my brains out like my mom was at the time or anything, but
just as a precautionary. I'm only saying this as the fact that it's great to pull upon certain deities, but Aphrodite has a lot of kind of sneaky, nasty things that come into her as well. So just as a warning.
Oh, yeah. You have to look at the lighter and the darker aspect of everything. Human, animal, doesn't matter. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So...
But we got dudes. We can't forget the dudes.
The giant phalluses of the season.
There's no birds if there's no bees.
Right.
There are, but...
We got the Green Man and Pan... Cernunnos.
The Dagda.
Yes.
The Great Horned God.
Dionysus again. Mabon. Hey, there's a Sabbat called Mabon.
Yep.
But that's actually a Welsh god, too.
Yes.
Mabon. Egyptian god Min.
And Osiris.
Osiris. Also. Yep. Osiris, which is Egyptian. Thor. Yeah, we were talking about Thor earlier. Big hammer. Got my Thor's hammer.
I had to be reminded of this almost because I didn't quite put two and two together with him at first. But once you think Thor's hammer and you know that he battles the frost giants, it totally makes sense because he's fighting away the frost. He's going to fight away the winter. And
bust up that ice so the green shit can grow.
So, I mean, the Vikings were pretty literal with their gods. It's very... straight up and straightforward.
Love it. Love it.
I like the fact that a lot of these male deities tend to kind of fit along the same line. Just kind of this generalized raw nature god.
That's why I think I'm a fan of Pan, too.
He's fun.
Just walking through the woods, on a hike by yourself or with friends. For a moment, think of Pan, because he's like the god of nature, the woods, and the animals in the woods. So when you're walking that trail and you hear the wind blowing through the branches and the leaves and you hear the animals wrestling around and stuff, just think of Pan as being like the dominant king of that forest at that moment in time. And it's an amazing feeling.
I don't know. One of your customers had the craziest picture.
Of Pan?
Yeah.
Really?
Remember?
Wait a minute.
She showed us that.
Oh, the shadow. Freaky looking thing.
The Green Man.
Yes.
I'm really, really, really sure that was the Green Man. This customer came in and we were talking about the Green Man. She asked, because I was looking at the pendant and she was holding it, and she asked me about the Green Man. It's like, well, he's also known as Ceranos, and he's kind of also along this line, and he's basic nature god, and pretty much that primeval raw thing. And she pulls out her phone and just shows me. She was just taking a picture. Like, she didn't even see this until she looked at it again. Right. But this figure, this literal,
that was just cool.
It was like the leaves were darker. It didn't even look like a shadow was cast on leaves. It looks like those particular leaves were in a body shape, and it was insane. So those moments where you just, like, little bits of proof are so cool.
Yeah, just even looking at how vines operate, how they grow, and then they attach themselves,
parasites,
to things, and buds growing on the ends of trees that actually burst like within an hour into a leaf or a flower. It's just, and I tend to think of more the male deities. I don't know, for some reason I look at the females as they're the light and the heart and the sexy. Who did you tell me was like the queen of the vulva or some crazy? She's like the vagina deity.
Yes.
I don't know.
Libera. Libera is all about freedom and liberty and taking semen in. That's her thing.
It's like succubus, or I think of Lilith for some reason. Like, it's like,
that raw female energy.
Yeah, and that's pretty sexy. I like the badass women though. The light fluffy ones to me is like, I don't know.
The Aphrodites.
They bore me. I don't know. I like a chick with balls.
Yeah.
Maybe not literally, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Whoa. Metaphysical great big balls.
But even when I think of the male deities, so-called males, I think of like the horned god, romping around with antlers growing out of his forehead, or this big green leafy plant man, that's in charge of like all the living things growing the green stuff. And then you've got this thing romping around in the forest that's like keeping the animals in control. And, it's just...
I think Pan has to be one of my just favorite mental images for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But outside of those...
Besides human-like characteristics, we go into your favorite topic.
My animals. That I can relate to. It's animals and totems and that kind of stuff. And it's actually quite simple. It's not that difficult if you just look outside your window. And yeah, this is the season of the birds and the bees, all that freaky shit going on, and everything's humping and being born and sprouting outside. And then later on, of course, we're going to be talking more about internal, what should be going on. But as far as the animals go, think of bees. Okay, they symbolize, new life, good health. They produce honey, which is actually considered a gift from the gods. So bees are really, really cool, and kind of scary thought. You hear more and more now on the news that bees are going out, right? And once the bees are done, we're done.
Screwed.
We are screwed. But how about the boar?
Yes.
Okay, that's a symbol of masculine power.
In abundance.
Was said that if you ate the meat from a boar, it was thought to give you strength. Meat from the boar was served to the deities as well.
Freya's very particular special animal is a boar.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She would eat boar?
Both.
Oh.
A lot of the deities in the Norse mythology focus heavily on boars because Germany had a lot of pigs and boars in their woods and everything. So those animals in particular were very important symbols of stability, wealth, and abundance.
Power, strength.
Pig roasts.
Think light and fluffy butterflies. Butterflies symbolize rebirth as they emerge from their cocoons as a different creature. Pretty freaking cool.
It's transformation and metamorphosis in all in one.
Absolutely. So.
What about
butterflies, birds? How about chicks?
Chicks in general?
Chicks. Yeah, hey baby, those kinds of chicks. Now, represent the birth of a new generation, fertility, and things to come.
Coming from the egg.
Yeah, bunch of baby, cute little fuzzy
Peeps.
Yeah. Little, oh God, put the peeps in the microwave. Watch them battle to the death with treats.
It's a different kind of spell.
Bring hedgehog to the table.
Really?
Yes. Hedgehog symbolizes self-preservation.
Makes sense.
Okay. Horse. Yay. It's actually feminine power and freedom. Return of the goddess from the underworld, bringing in the spring.
Okay, so horse kind of relates to both Epona and Persephone.
There you go. You're talking those people things
I
again.
can't help it. You got animals, I got
hey,
people.
you're linking that. That's awesome. I like how they can be, joined together like that. Of course, we got a rabbit. Our little fuck bunnies, symbols of fertility, multiply quickly and in large numbers, prosperity and abundance.
Double pregnancy.
Oh, yeah. Again, I'm so thankful that humans can't do that. All right, we talked about boar. What about ram?
My buddy.
Ram, young, masculine power of a lustful nature and the power to procreate. It's the symbol of Aries.
My buddy.
You're than Aries.
We're, kind of full, not full of ourselves, but definitely full force. Hit the head, just straight on, not gonna back down.
Oh yeah. And then back to the birds. Robin. Once you start seeing robins outside your window, it really is the first sign of spring. And it announces the coming of the sun and warmer days.
They're just happy birds. How can you not like robins?
Right. Well, they're I don't really see that many that often though. Not around here.
Oh gosh, they've been attacking our door.
They'll
swoop down straight towards the door and everything. It's
what do you have on your door?
Nothing. It's just a clear glass door. They just it's how they swoop. It's a flight pattern situation. Like just how everything is trees and everything. They just have to follow a certain way and they just come in real close. So
okay.
I got greeted by a robin.
There's a bird in your face. Outside of the regular, normal animals, there's actually two mythical creatures. Phoenix being one.
Rebirth. Yeah. Straight up rebirth.
Creature of optimism that symbolizes rebirth and new beginnings.
Gotta love Harry Potter fans. Yeah. Everyone's gonna know what a phoenix is about.
Yeah, I'll get there. I promise. We will have that night.
Someday.
And something is called a puka. Have you ever heard of a puka?
Is it Japanese?
Actually, it's a magical Irish creature.
Okay.
Said to be half man and half rabbit or other animal. Okay, half man, half horse. Puka. Symbolizes fertility. It was a servant who helped bring the power of the equinox to the land, woods, and field.
Huh.
A puka.
Never heard of that. J.K. Rowling did not include that one in her books.
That's my new pet name for my husband.
Puka.
Puka. Pookie. Puka.
The face I'm seeing is just epic.
Yay. Anyways, all right.
I don't want to know what his other half is.
No. Don't you? Okay.
Good, clean thoughts, yes. Thank God this is not on radio.
Okay, we were talking a whole lot about what is going on outside of our window. Okay? Mostly
what's in the world.
With the animals, with, the trees and the plants and all that kind of stuff. But in the beginning, we were talking a little bit about balance.
Yes.
So why don't we jump back to the
internal focus?
Yeah, excuse me. The similarity between what's going on outside as to what is going on within us or should be going on within us.
Things to focus on.
Yes. Rebirth of things. So maybe some spiritual focus and some keywords revolving around this particular Sabbat.
It's for me really heavy about duality and just making sure that you're finding time and balance in your life. Kind of taking when you're able to look at the winter is so focused about doing things. A lot of times, especially when spring hits, I tend to go really crazy on all of these new things that I completely lose balance with everything else that's going on.
Okay.
I'll acknowledge that.
That's your RAM. Yeah.
Yes. And then fertility and fertilizer and growth and strength and building towards these things. Like, I've already had the idea, and now it's time to move forward in that action and take that Aries step forward.
Right. Yep. You said a lot of the similar keywords that come to my mind too. I mean, growing in strength is a big one for me too, because it's, again, coming from that hibernation state, that lethargic, it's too cold and all I want to do is stay inside next to the fireplace in my blanket, and I don't want to do anything except maybe read something, eat some Chinese, and go to sleep. Being stuck in those cold winter months, and then once, it's time to come out of your cave, that sometimes takes a little bit of motivation. Your body's kind of like, I'm not used to doing this. Or not only our bodies, but our minds too. I try to really focus on internalizing a lot of things in the darker months because I can't get outside and play in the sun where I want to be. So when this time of year comes around, the sun really, it changes me. It really does. It totally rejuvenates me, not only physically, but mentally too. It's like, yes, exactly. Yes, all these things that I've been thinking about and wanting to do, now I'm not lethargic. Now I'm up, my blood is pumping, and I can start working on these things again. So it's that growing in the strength throughout, from that hibernation state to actual motion, again, is big for me. New beginnings, like you said, rebirth and rejuvenation, renewal, fertility of goals.
Yes, implementing the goals.
Yes, the birth of new goals. I don't know, actually birth of new goals, the idea of that falls a little more on Imbolc than it does on Ostara. Imbolc is the birth of an idea in my mind, whereas Ostara is, taking that and actually
planting the seed. I mean, like Imbolc would be maybe getting the seed, picking out the seed, doing something where you have that seed, and then Ostara is planting and watering that seed.
Right. It's the first steps to actually making that seed go from its cocoon stage into a butterfly. That whole transformation.
Right.
So, yay.
Okay. So we're leading all of this up, hopefully, so that we can give everyone an idea of how to set up their own, set up something so they can celebrate. So we wanted to at least mention some good symbols, some altar decorations, some colors to associate. It may not be that we go into deep depth about this. You can research this. It's pretty simple, or I shouldn't say simple, but it's easier to look this up when you have some ideas of where to start.
Right. And, even for those who desire to create an altar to celebrate this Sabbat of ours, you can think about some of the tools that we're about to talk about right now and see what makes you happy, and then apply it to your altar, or no matter what the tool is, again, we're talking about a bunch of different things to apply. Well, right now we're kind of talking about things that in a physical, physically do rather than internally, but we'll go back to the internal again because it is really, really important.
I mean, like magical intent and divinations and things to focus on, and there's so much to go into, and so the goals are to look.
Let's talk about Easter baskets and shit for a second, okay? Because
there's so much.
There's so much. All right, symbols, baskets, tools for gathering and encouraging growth and abundance. Baskets, we all call them Easter baskets. Doesn't have to be a freaking Easter basket. Just the symbol of a basket.
Collecting.
I've heard enough. Burners!
Hey, don't burn me. Eggs. We see eggs everywhere.
Sign of fertility, whether or not they're coming from a rabbit or not.
Creation. Think of creation, fertility. The hare, the rabbit. Another very popular symbol that we see all over the place this time of year, symbol of the holiday and the goddess. How do you pronounce it? Esther?
Ostara?
Ostara?
Yeah.
Ostara. Ostara. So the E is silent. Gotcha. See, I'm horrible with human names. And seeds.
Seeds in general, lots of seeds.
Big one.
Of all kinds. Acorns, I mean, any kind of tree seed. I know I've got lambs. A lot of young agricultural animals are really important, like you were saying, chicks, but I've got calves. Any animals that are being born in the spring are really heavily important. And then you've got milk, honey, seeds, bulbs, and then we can go into all the different kinds of plants and stones and everything there. You know, if we keep it really simple, if you kind of stick on the lines of Easter colors, you can't go wrong. Because even if you look at the stones that are following along the Easter colors, you've got your amethyst, your rose quartz, jasper, and moonstone. They're all pastel. Or a lot of them are pastel.
Right.
Or earth tones.
Right.
So...
even on the colors, I mean, certain... Going back to the shop for a second, when it comes to speaking about colors and color correspondences, I tend to tell people that there's two different ways of working with colors, okay? The so-called scientific vibrations that colors emit, okay? And scientifically... They say, okay, if you look at yellow, it creates a calming sensation over the mind and will relax you, or something along those lines. And even the colors that I have in front of me for this particular Sabbat and what they represent, it's good and all knowing these things. But the second part of the story that I tell people about color correspondence is that the same thing that you said, it's, okay, number one, think of the season. But... When it comes to thinking about a color, instead of what's said about the color,
it's how you interpret it.
How you feel when you think about that color. Okay? For instance, most people, when they think of the color red, they think of, passion or
courage, anger, rage. It's very generic.
It's love intensified. Whereas... Like, let me ask you a question. When you think of money, what color do you think of?
I do think green.
Okay. About 99% of the people that I speak with say that same thing.
You think
red?
And
when they ask me what color do I think of dark purple and gold. Now, the difference is when I think of a small bill, like a $20 bill, $50 bill, I think of green. When I think of abundance, I think of royalty. I think of large amounts of money. So I think of the cloak of a king or a queen, the dark purple royalty color with gold.
You're obviously not from Minnesota.
No, I am not. So the point that I'm trying to make is even though you see different definitions behind colors, okay, the colors for Ostara are based off of Easter egg colors.
Yes.
The light pastels. But in reality, you go with the color that...
If you think white and black mean rebirth to you, you use white and black.
Absolutely.
I mean, white and black actually fits very well for that one for duality.
Right.
But, if bright orange makes you think of it, then that works for you. Yellow is not calming to me. Yellow pisses me off.
Well, according to the typical colors of Ostara... what I found was green, obviously, light blue, pink, silver, violet, white, and yellow.
Yes, I got lemon yellow, pale green, pale pink, grass green, all pastels. It's variations. And a lot of avoiding those stronger, very jewel tones in general.
The silver one kind of threw me off a little bit because when it comes to silver and gold, the first thing that popped in my head would be gold representing more the sun, okay, and the rebirth of the sun and it's coming through my window and everything. So I was interested into what it said about silver.
Right.
And it still makes a little sense. I mean, they're saying that the silver represents the goddess, intuition, the inner self, night, psychic abilities, receptivity, and spiritual truth. Okay, that makes sense. But does that mean that I can't use gold? No, it doesn't. You know, it doesn't mean that silver is the assigned color for Ostara. You can't use gold. You can use whatever color that you want.
I don't think there are any there's a very select few rules that are set in stone, and even those are not set in real stone.
And anybody who tells you that, you know, that they are, ignore them, walk away, and find new friends because they're stupid. Anyway. Whoa! I'm a tree girl. I have 3 different trees that are supposedly representations of spring.
Okay.
And that would be alder,
which is the Celtic zodiac for that period of time.
Yep. And alder trees represent clarity, divination, guidance, intuition, rebirth, renewal, transformation, truth, and visions. Apple trees and hawthorn. Again, they're all still revolving around. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and read these keywords off to you verbatim because then I'm just going to sound ridiculous and boring. But they are still all revolving around creativity, you know, prosperity, relationships, that kind of thing. So,
I think we've hammered it home how important it is, right? Where the season is.
Do you understand yet? If not, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know.
We've given you a wicked lobotomy at this point with how much we've hammered it in. Stones. I mean, in general, I kind of threw a couple of them out there, but I would say, in general, any stones that can coincide with intuition, coincide with even what you're trying to bring forth. It doesn't have to be specifically a stone set for this month. If you have a particular ritual or something that you're doing that works with a particular stone, or if you want to bring something forward that a stone has that particular, you know, a vibe to it, then everything's fine. But again, going with pastel stones, that's gonna, you know, can't go wrong with it.
But see, I'm a fan of the bloodstone though too.
March's original birthstone.
It represents that courage, self-confidence, and strength. That strength needed for my motivation, going from hibernation mode to like, oh god, you know, to actually waking up.
Yeah.
So bloodstone works well for me. Aquamarine and agate, two other large stones for me.
Yes.
That I very much enjoy using. And the cool thing is that we were just talking about color correspondences, you know, and silver in comparison to gold. Well, actually, under the crystals and stones, under metals, it's silver.
Nice.
Silver again. It's showing up again because of all the things, you know, ambition, attraction, beginnings, blah, 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 in comparison to gold.
It's a good metal.
So, yeah, for all the alchemists out there, silver, the month, silver.
And then flowers. I quickly, in case you're wanting to put some flowers on the altar, put something in particular, everything that's blooming right now, you're gonna be able to find it. The Easter lilies, dandelions, honeysuckle, iris, jasmine, rose, tansy, and violet. I mean, we've got a lot of pinks, yellows, purples. Crocuses are great.
I wish apple blossom
was
available here. It takes us forever to get apple blossom, the dried herb, in because we love using it with certain things. It's like, I don't know, could I like buy some apple blossom seeds?
Apple blossom. Apple seeds? So,
honeysuckle, one of my favorites growing up.
So good.
Honeysuckle.
Tastes so good.
Growing up in Texas, we had them wild all over the place, and would pick them off, bite off the end, and just suck out the inside.
Yes.
Honeysuckles.
We grew those. We had an entire bush of those on the side of my house, and that was my treat every summer, was to go grab some honeysuckles.
Honeysuckles, jasmine.
Food. Do we want to talk about food real quick? I mean, like, we're collecting all of this information.
Hungry.
I know.
Yes, we could talk about food.
Oh, it's like it's one of my favorite ways of including herbs or certain things into just a combination, because I like sachets. I like doing certain things where it's dried, it has a particular purpose, but there's something to cooking the ingredients and making them all work together in such a nice married way.
And see, I burn water. So you do the cooking around here, I'll do the cleaning, and all will be well in our universe.
It works.
Okay. So what kind of foods?
I mean, a lot of breads. I mean, it's not lunasa, but it's definitely one of those heavy on grains, heavy on seeds. You want to do eggs. Incorporating eggs into a lot of things are really nice, and so custards are popular. But I don't know. I mean, like it has a lot to do with just kind of like sweets as well.
What about things that are actually in season at your grocery store, like asparagus and those types of things? I made a small list. I've got asparagus, dill, like you said, eggs, honey. Honey is an awesome food this time of year.
And milk. A lot of the spring cow's milk.
Lamb, lettuce, radishes, spring onions, and to drink, mead.
All about the apples.
The season for the mead. Spring-colored drinks, but mead. Honey, mead. Make me some mead. Bring me some mead. I'll be happy. And, ooh, guard dog.
We are safe.
The herbs. See, yeah, I can relate a little more to herbs than I can to cooking food. What are some of your favorite Ostara herbs?
I really like cinnamon.
Okay.
I love to incorporate cinnamon in a lot of my workings just because it is a good prosperity bringer. Mm-hmm. Intuition. I mean, do we have one for intuition?
This is, well, I have broom, which is calming, communication, concentration, divination, harmony, intuition, prosperity, and purification. Get yourself some broom. Or high John root, which is real good for attraction, blessings, divination, happiness, love, luck, peace, prosperity, psychic abilities, strength, support, and well-being. Irish moss. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorites that I use for so many sachets and incense is lemongrass.
Yes.
Lemongrass rocks. Some of the keywords for psychic awareness and purification. I just love the way that it smells. It is amazing with almost anything that you can throw together.
I got to bring this up again because it's fun and I enjoy it quite a bit. The acorn.
Oh, yeah. I remember you talking about that.
The acorn, and I'm not going to ever remember the name of this, but it fits so well because not only does it's a seed to grow into the oak tree, which is such a great symbol. Mm-hmm. Dionysus used to carry around a staff with an acorn on the top of it, which was a huge phallus symbol. So the acorn turned upside down is just another phallus.
Kind of like the camel picture on the camel cigarette. Looks like a big penis.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, I'll get my mind off the phalluses for a moment. Now I'm never going to look at an acorn the same way.
Wow!
Ruined everyone's day.
How dare you fill my head with such loathsome propaganda?
Oh, you like it. Stop that. Okay. When it comes to the world of magic, I'm a firm believer that we do not perform magic or spells to change people. We do it to enlighten, empower ourselves. Exactly. Ourselves. So some types of magic focus that we would like to concentrate on this time of year.
I can give a easy example just focusing on myself because
Go for it.
as we said in Imbolc, it was about getting an idea of the things that we want to do this year. Mm-hmm. So now, this Ostara, I'm going to be focusing on how to fertilize those new ideas, how to strengthen those ideas, how to give me the motivation in order to make those things happen.
Right.
So very focused on, all right, now I've got a game plan. I don't need it to be decisive anymore. I need to have that strength and that action.
Right.
So that's going to be my big pull-in, my big draw-in for that period of time.
And, I mean, love is in the air, okay? Everybody, it's kind of crazy, too, just from observing behaviorisms. I've noticed that a lot of couples will begin to argue and fight this time of year. It's kind of like that primal coming out of the cave, spring fever. I've been cooped up with you like the whole winter, and I just want to like set you on fire and like run you over with my car kind of thing. And there's a lot of arguing right before they make up, and then everything's good again. When it comes to single people, they're all looking for new love. And when it comes to magic, again, going back to the shop, there's a lot of people that come in and say, I am looking for love. I want a spell for love. And the thing that I explain to them, I can poof, phew. I try to give them a different way of looking at it. Instead of looking at a particular person that they're trying to draw to them, because most people, that's their idea of a love spell.
An attraction spell.
Exactly. It's not, you're not looking at a specific name or thing that comes to you. It's actually spell work on making yourself more lovable, making yourself more attractive to other people.
Loving yourself so that others can love you the same way you love yourself.
Yes, and even though that sounds all light and fluffy and almost boring, okay, because realistically, let's talk self-love. Love me, then you'll love me. If I love myself, you'll love me.
It's Dr. Phil sounding a little.
Well, look at it a little more intense, okay? Think about sexy or passionate, all right? You want a more passionate life. Okay, well, I'm not going to perform a spell on my husband to, look at me and your dick's going to be hard. No, it's not.
Wait, there's no Viagra spell?
Well, yeah, it's called Viagra. No, I'm not out to manipulate. God, manipulation. Manipulate anybody else's free will. It is, I have to think more sexy. I have to think more passionate. I have to become that. So the spells that I do are on myself to become that. So that when I put myself in the presence of this particular person, I am emanating that energy. And they pick up on it. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And then we look at the idea of when it's self-improvement, it's so much easier for everyone else to notice it around you. And then you don't have to worry about it coming back on you in a negative fashion.
It doesn't come back on you in a negative fashion, though. That's just it. Exactly. You can't fuck it up. As long as you're doing spell work to improve yourself, you cannot go wrong. But keeping that in mind, and one of the keywords that we kept talking about earlier as far as balance, the balance of things, before you do any of this spell work to bring things to you, okay, the balance part of it is cleaning out that closet.
And letting go.
Spring cleaning, okay, to make room for abundance, an abundance spell I'm going to do on myself. We need to get rid of something that no longer serves us. We have to make room in ourselves. So what is it that I'm going to sacrifice? Something I'm going to clean out of my own personal closet that no longer serves me. And I'm going to release that. Okay? Now I've made room to bring in something good. That is balance when it comes to spell work. We have to keep that in mind. A lot of people don't want to clean out the closet. The closet is jam-packed full of shit. You open the door and all the crap comes out and falls on your head. You have no more room to put anything new into your closet, right?
Right.
So you need to open the door, all the shit comes falling on your face, and then you have to go through it all and say, okay, I want to keep this, but I don't want to keep that. You have to do the same thing with yourself when it comes to...
It's a lot of self-observation at this point.
Yeah, and it's really not easy, and I totally stressed on that last, on one of the previous podcasts, is that this is not easy because a lot of this is very painful. We're facing demons and stuff, but we have to get rid of the ugly. We have to get rid of the ugly to bring in the good.
It's all about the phoenix.
Yeah. So that's, spell work. Yeah, abundance, balance, change, fertility, growth, blah, blah, blah. The things that we want to bring to ourselves.
We have literally tried to give just a synopsis. I mean, we could go on for another hour about all of this. I mean, Ostara is a huge, and each Sabbat is going to be just this big. There's so much about each one, and it's about incorporating it into your current lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So, giving back, though, that's the most important thing. There's a lot of taking in, but there's got to be balance and even giving back, because we're taking in a lot of energy. We're taking in a lot of things, gifts from Gaia, nature, spirit, whatever we want to call it. So what can we do in return?
You are right. Energy comes and energy must go. If good things are coming to us, we have to share it. And are you talking about giving back as far as the outside world, how we can contribute and help? Is that what you're talking about?
We kind of touched upon the internal, about giving back or releasing, keeping that balance in that sense. But yeah, I do feel like as taking that energy and taking so much from the earth, there are things that you can do to give back. And even if it's as simple as, picking up garbage.
That is one of them. Over the wintertime, the snow and the ice covers so much litter on the ground. And it's beautiful outside when the snow is fresh and it's all white and pretty. And this time of year, we're happy that the snow is melting, but it reveals disgusting shit all over the ground. Human waste, litter. So, yeah,
Makes me sick.
It really is. It just reminds me how disgusting humans are. And there are those days where I put on like the full body condom, it feels like, because you don't know what you're about to touch. And you grab a trash bag and you look like an idiot out on the side of the street because nobody else is doing it. And I really don't care, and you just go out and you pick up fucking trash. I don't care that you didn't throw it there. I don't fucking care. Go and do it, because usually it only takes one person,
and
to
other
start
people
something.
see it.
Right. And I think the thing that kills me even more than on the side of the streets, people just like carelessly throwing shit out their windows. Nature walks and on natural bodies of water and ponds where I see fish, I see turtles, I see all these living creatures, and all on the outskirts of it, it's beer cans and plastic bags and twist ties from bread bags and all this shit that these animals are exposed to. So that's me going out there with a really big stick and trying to scoop shit at and trying not to fall in. But I'm looking at these animals like, my God, I am so sorry that humans are so disgusting. Because you're not the one that did this in your own environment. People take some fucking pride in your environment. Yes, you and I, yeah, if you're ever in the mood to go out and
we'll go garbage pick. I mean, we should put some orange things on, at least, then they'll think we're instead.
Well, I look forward to people stopping me and asking, especially police officers, because I hear that can happen.
Yeah, they'll stop you.
And it's like, you're actually going to arrest me for picking up garbage. Are you fucking kidding me? Then, what, arrest me. It is so fucked up.
Goody Chesler has accused you of being a witch. Do you confess it?
Yes, thank you. How about community gardening and community farming?
If I can find a place like that, that'd be awesome.
There's actually even at UUCE, the Unitarian Universalist church that my husband and I attend, there is a community farm, and they're mostly goats and chickens and that kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. But yes, I think that we should have more of those. In
places
the area.
to do. I mean, Europe is full of them everywhere. It's like a garden club in every neighborhood, and everyone is responsible, but you can also go and get a garden item whenever you want. It's amazing.
The really sick thing is to that, though, and now I'm going to go off on a tangent, and I'm going to get a little heated, and I apologize, but there are certain zoning laws in certain towns and cities saying that you can't garden, okay, due to landscaping or curbside appeal. I don't fucking know what the problem is. I don't know if they think that perhaps you're going to be bringing in the wildlife and all the bears are going to come and eat your neighbors. I don't know. But there are. If you've never seen it, look it up, because people are being fined and ticketed, heavy fines for having gardens in their yards. Yes.
I mean, it's the same as water collection fines. Mm-hmm. Collecting rainwater.
Yeah, don't get me going on the politics thing, because I'm gonna
a Wiccan's perspective on politics.
Okay,
is a very dangerous idea.
Change the subject. How about helping the homeless? Simply because many of the temporary shelters will be closing soon.
Yes,
'tis the season, so they're not they're not going to be out in the cold anymore. We're just going to kick them all outside. Well, still, these are humans, and they don't have anything.
Humans with a lot of limitations a lot of the times.
And even outside of the humans, even your animal shelters too.
Helping out animal shelters. I mean, how many places need people just to socialize with their animals?
Right. Walking the dogs. Yeah. I've volunteered at no-kill shelters before, and it is a hell of a job. It is tiresome. It is draining, and I have the utmost respect to the people that dedicate a large portion of their lives to doing that. I mean, it is exhausting, but it needs to be done.
Little random one that I do just as like a side thing is I get those little fertilizer sticks. They're pretty simple, and you can just like stab the ground and stick it in there. I'll go on nature walks and I'll just do that from time to time, where I'll just take a little fertilizer stick as I go, and I've noticed that my path that I go on, all of a sudden it'll just start blooming. It turns out so cool, and it's not hurting anything. It's making I don't want to screw up, the wildlife guy who has to mow everything down. So I, try to stick it off to the side so it's not like a big plant right in the middle. But just giving back to nature in one way or another. Nature
watering
or
a plant that is dying because it doesn't have, access to water or something. Just things are trying to grow. Things are trying to, struggle, the strength from the winter and everything. And just get out there and help. Make 30 minutes out of a Saturday is not going to kill you. Seriously. Make some fucking time and give back. Stop being so fucking selfish, because
we've got so many good things coming to us. It's at least worth giving back a little.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right. We have covered a lot, and we didn't even go in depth with a lot of stuff. This Sabbat's big. I mean, magic, stick with improving yourself. There are other forms of divination too that we can play with. I'm a big tarot girl, and there's certain tarot cards that go hand in hand with Ostara, but we've been rambling on. I don't even know if you really want to go over that. If we can go over that another time.
There's so many things. I mean, we can go into just the Sabbats themselves and copy that. We do want to ask our listeners, because this is a huge thing for us. And I mean, obviously, we have a brand new show, and everyone that's been listening to us, thank you very much. And comment. We would love to hear what you guys have to think. We would love to hear topics that you want to hear about. If you think that we're going into too much detail, not enough detail about something, we're excited to hear what you think, because this is a show for the audience. I mean, Feather and I, we can talk about this all day long to ourselves, but that's not going to do anything. We are trying to do this to help the community.
And typically, I wouldn't think that we would have jumped right into such a large topic on our second podcast. But considering that we do recognize, LeFay and I do recognize the Esbats and the Sabbats, and we wanted to share that with you before they actually happen, so that if we could give you some ideas as to possibly celebrating, on your own, you have time to, set up a little mini altar. Or the Easter Bunny, whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, like she said, we your feedback when it comes to certain show ideas, because there are so many things to talk about. We could sit here for 3 years straight and not cover everything. But we're only thinking, we're talking about the things we want to talk about. We'd like to hear what you want to talk about.
Recommendations are always accepted, and we love them. We love our listeners giving us recommendations.
Okay. Well, do you want me to? You want to talk about the sun real quick on that day, or just the astrology part of Ostara, or maybe we've done enough?
I think we have some good warnings and everything on what to expect, but as we continue our shows as well, we're always looking for, obviously new audience members, share the show with everyone. We're also looking for guests. We're going to be looking for sponsors. Yay. We're going to be, this is the beginning of something, hopefully, that we can have grow and develop. And if people have a specialty in something that they're curious on talking about, or if they feel like they just want to babble with us for a little bit.
Two crazy bitches. Yeah. Witches. I didn't say bitches. Yes, I did.
Both. Anyway, on that note, I'm LeFay.
This is Feather.
And thank you for joining us again for this episode of Season of the Witch.
Good night, guys.